Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we've got a quick update for you. We're talking about one of my favorite companies on the channel, none other than Peak Fintech Group. Since our last video, you guys, the company was in some real trouble. They had a big dip in share price. They've come out with some big news. They've reaffirmed guidance moving forward, and it seems the company has addressed some of the concerns we talked about in our last update. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about what's new, what's changed. Before we get into it, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below what you think of this recent news, if you're currently holding shares of Peak, and what your average cost is per share. Now without further ado, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. For today's video, I wanted to provide an update on one of our favorites on the channel here, Peak Fintech Group, ticker symbol PKK on the Canadian side of things. They also trade or traded under the ticker symbol TNT on the NASDAQ. They've since been halted on that exchange. We're going to talk about an update in regards to that listing later in this video. If you recall, we put a video out a couple of weeks ago talking about some of the challenges that we were seeing at Peak Fintech Group. The video is titled What's Going On with Peak, and I'm happy to report since that video's come out, we've pretty much seen a 180 in this stock. The share price has almost recovered to where we were at prior to that series of bad news coming out. You can see here, back at the start of the month, October 4th, Peak had a series of bad news come out. The stock plummeted under $8. It closed out the session on the 4th at $7.80. I put out a video at that point in time talking about whether or not I thought it was a good opportunity to buy the dip. In that video, we talked about some of the headwinds that PKK was facing, and we're now going to address some of those concerns as they really have seen a great correction in share price and the sentiment towards this company. Now in terms of the chart, you can see they closed out Tuesday's session, October 26, just over $10. So if you look back to the end of September, very similar share price to before that news and that big drop actually occurred. They were down 3.25% on the day, so we'll see how the rest of the week pans out here for Peak Fintech Group. But again, very optimistic about this company, you guys, and think they really do have a huge potential or runway ahead of them, both in China and in other countries around the world. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Peak, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at some of my other videos, which really do a deep dive analysis on their business model and their subsidiary companies. But in a nutshell here, you guys, Peak Fintech Group is the parent company of a variety of different subsidiaries that are currently operating in China's commercial lending industry. So the whole goal with this company is to make commercial lending easier for small, medium-sized businesses in China and help them navigate this very confusing, often difficult and time-consuming landscape as they look to acquire primarily funding, but also now things like distribution, supply chain, and various different components of their overall business operation. Peak uses technology, analytics, and artificial intelligence to create an ecosystem of lenders, borrowers, and other participants in China's commercial lending space where lending operations are conducted rapidly, safely, and efficiently with the utmost transparency. Now, Peak Fintech Group has just recently made a big acquisition with their Cubular lending platform or business hub, which is going to enable them to really expand outside of the Chinese borders. But in its current form, this company is really focused on Asia and China specifically. Now, if we jump over to the YouTube here, you can see 3 weeks ago, I put out the video, What's Happening with Peak Fintech, talking about whether or not I thought it was a good opportunity to buy the dip. This video came out essentially right at the low we saw there, so $7.89. This was a great opportunity to load up here, you guys, and I really talked about in that video how I felt like a lot of the media and bad press that this company was receiving were really short-term headwinds that didn't have a big impact on the overall fundamental business or the vision of the management team. And it seems that thesis is true, you guys, as we've seen the share price virtually rebound to where it was prior to that series of bad news. So congratulations to any of you who are able to either start a position or average down on your existing position in PKK during that dip we saw. Now fast forward a couple of weeks here, you guys, there's two big articles that I wanted to talk about in today's video. So the first one came out last Friday, October 22nd, and it talks about Peak really updating their revenue and earnings guidance for the next couple of years based on their expected North American expansion. And this expansion really has to do with the acquisition of the Cubular Business Hub that I mentioned a couple of seconds ago. So you can see here the CEO, Johnson Joseph, talks about this Cubular lending platform and really what it enables the company to do moving forward. So he says there's several reasons why we're so excited about our recent acquisition of Cubular. The most obvious ones are the expected impact on our revenue and access to markets beyond or outside of China. But what I'm personally most enthusiastic about is introducing the world to our consumer-focused applications, leveraging the vast amount of data at our disposal with our AI capabilities. While we don't expect these applications to impact this year's numbers, 2021 numbers, as they're still being developed, we do expect for them to account for more than a third of our revenue by 2023. So this is a massive ramp-up opportunity for this company, and to eventually become the biggest source of revenue for the company shortly thereafter. Now, based on this change, and until that happens, they wanted to provide updated revenue, EBITDA, and net income guidance so the market is aware of where this company is trying to go over the next couple of years. So as an investor in Peak Fintech, I really appreciate that management is transparent and has this longer term vision for the company and the milestones or goalposts that they want to achieve within the next few fiscal years. Now this is a table you can see 2020 results, obviously actual results. Revenue came in just under $43 million, EBITDA negative $3 million, net loss of $5.5 million. Now 2021 is expected to be a big year for a couple of reasons. You can see revenue increased by about 2.5 times, which is obviously phenomenal, but what's most important to me is we now see EBITDA go positive along with net income turn from a negative to a positive. So they're expecting about $4.4 million in positive net income in the current fiscal year. And from there, things ramp up exponentially. So 2022 revenues triple, EBITDA goes up to $82 million with an expected net income of $51.4 million. Keep in mind, you guys, this is roughly $600 to $700 million market cap company in terms of Canadian dollars. In 2023, this is when it gets really exciting. Revenue again more than doubles year over year, up above $814 million. Forecasted EBITDA of just under $296 million, and positive net income in excess of $204 million. Now, obviously, a lot of things can change over the next couple of years, but based on these estimates, you guys, Peak Fintech looks extremely attractive at these valuations to me as an outsider looking in at this company. And I think there's honestly a huge appetite for this type of service, both for the small businesses and for the lenders, as it's mutually beneficial to both sides of the equation. And that's why I'm personally looking to make Peak Fintech Group one of my core positions within my portfolio over the next couple of quarters. Now, the next article up for discussion here is in regards to a new registration statement that Peak has filed with the SEC. So if you recall my last video, a big concern for Peak Fintech Group and a big reason the company saw that massive and dramatic share price drop was actually in regards to this Form 40F. So this is a form required by the SEC to be listed on the NASDAQ capital market. Peak had originally submitted this form on September 2nd and actually withdrew it on September 28th. So that spooked the market here. People were concerned. It actually caused the TNT or NASDAQ listing to be halted. And there was a little bit of that sky is falling type of syndrome. Now, I personally was not too concerned by this news because it was actually the company themselves, Peak themselves, who withdrew the form. It wasn't the SEC actually declining or turning down that document. So for me, that was a good indicator that they just needed a little bit more time and needed to really clarify the ask. And sure enough, they've now resubmitted that form to address that recent disclosure guidance, which was provided by the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission. And again, the primary reason this document is needed is because Peak operates in China. So if they had operations or the majority of their operations in other countries around the world or North America, they wouldn't need this form or submission. But you can see here, the SEC requires this for companies that are either based in China or with a significant portion of their operations stemming from China, which obviously fits the bill for Peak Fintech Group. Now we're going to need to see what the SEC's response is to this form and how quickly the NASDAQ or TNT listing will resume trading, but super excited about this, you guys, and glad to see that Peak Fintech Group was really able to get the train back on the tracks in very short order. So that's it for today's video. As promised, a quick update on Peak Fintech Group in regards to their revised financial forecasts over the next couple of years and this Form 40F, which we talked about previously on the channel. For those of you, again, who were able to take advantage of that dip and load up on some additional PKK shares, super excited for you and congratulations. For those of you who weren't, I think this one definitely belongs on your watch list. Please keep me posted if and when you do decide to initiate a position in Peak. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this company, the potential they have to expand outside of China, and what you think about the recent news covered in today's video. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And if you're still here at this point in the video, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.